Okay, so I will start standing, but then I will sit down here to fool around with code a bit. Well, today we are going to continue to address how we can build UIs in using Compose, Jetpack Compose. Um, we started by looking at stateless components. I told you just think about how you want it to look, not how you want it to behave, right? So it's mostly about figuring out what goes where in your UI. Today I am aiming, and also I've talked to you about navigation. There are several ways to accomplish navigation between screens. I've shown you how to navigate between activities, where I have a relationship of one-to-one for one screen, one activity, but some of you guys are doing differently. It's okay, using, for example, navigation host. It's okay, right? But I wanted you to see how we can use Android support for user tasks and backstack. I have not yet dive into it, but we will look into it further as we go along, okay? Today, I already built some code. I reckon that it's not easy to build everything in front of you guys, as I prefer. I like to build the code in the class, but we are only using 1.5 hours per week, so it's not a lot, and it's not easy to build everything we need in that small amount of time, okay? So this is why I bring code already written, already built, okay? So today is let's see whether we get there, but today is about adding state to our UI. Okay, so adding behavior and state to our UI. Let's see. First and foremost, I have here Android Studio. Okay, I will guide you through my code. This code will be added to the repository at the end of the lecture, the end of the day, actually, because I have another lecture following this one. I will guide you through it. There's nothing here that I haven't already shown you, except to one little detail, which is automatic tests. Okay, that's the only thing I have added in addition to what you already know. Okay, so this is the application I'll be using during our lectures. It's a main screen with a set of buttons. For now, only one. The button should navigate to the demo crowd tally. My intent today is to build a small application where I count the number of entrances of the assistants in a given a room. Okay, for example, a show with limited capacity. I want to know exactly how many people enter and how many people are inside that space. Okay, a simple counter, no big deal. I click there, and for now it goes here, which is my about screen. Okay, with my socials to illustrate this. For example, my LinkedIn. I click here, it goes to Google Chrome. You know, some time. It eventually will get there. Okay, but you get the idea, right? Okay, but it works, I promise. Come on. Ah, bom dia. Bom dia, malta. Uh, caramba. Well, it should work, but uh, what about sending an email? How about YouTube? Okay. Well, uh, that's Murphy, but this is so easy that it's right. Okay, it's simply the. Let's see whether. Okay, it's taking its time. Ah, okay, I will check what is happening afterwards. It's not in my code. I will show you how I know that. Okay, at least I think it's not in my code. I will show you. Okay, but for now I want to change this. I don't want to have this navigating um, to there to the about screen. This is the icon I wish to uh, uh, support navigation to here. Okay, so if I choose Discord, it opens the browser, but actually I don't have network. I'm not sure why. I don't have network on my device. This is what's happening here. Maybe I need to reboot it, but it's the device. Okay, this is not opening because I don't seem to have network on the device. Next, cancel. Okay, I don't know. For example, SL Benfica. Now it's the device. Okay, we will look into it afterwards. I will reboot it later on. Obrigado, Vicente. Abraço. I will look into it later on. Okay, but what I intended to show you guys is that I have a top bar, a top application bar at the top. You've seen it with a small icon, so I can click on the right upper left, so I can click there and navigate to the About screen. The About screen has a series of links to my socials, YouTube, Discord, and whatever, okay, LinkedIn, and all of that. And because I'm the author of this, okay, and also a link to enable me to send an email to myself in this case, okay, which is weird, I know, but well, if and nobody calls us, we call ourselves, right? So in that I have here to my left the about screen. It's an about activity and the about screen itself. Here the main screen, the main activity, and the main screen itself. I have here also. Let me just close this. I have here also a maybe it was. Let me just try again because I'm stubborn. Yeah, I know Malenkar, but I think it's not that. I think it's because I had the device running and I hibernated the computer. This sometimes has this effect of uh, of being. Let me just check now. Okay, home. I shouldn't need to configure it because it was already working. You see, update my app. No, I don't. I don't want to update my app. And okay, navigate back, Chrome, and now YouTube. It's working already. Okay, okay, okay. It's alive. Okay, it's alive. Accept all. We always accept everything. I just sold my soul to the devil. It's okay. Uh, okay. Now I think it's working. Demos application. Here it is. CrowdTelly. Oops, not this one, and now YouTube. Ah, maybe I have that link broken. Okay, it's working. Okay, it should because there's no big deal here. Okay, there's not that much happening there, so it should work. By the way, have you what has happened is that I last night I was fiddling with this to prepare this lecture. I left the device running. I hibernated my Mac, and when I got back here, it was as you saw it. Okay, so maybe it happens also to you guys, and now you know. Okay, but again, let me just get back to the set of screens. I have two screens, about screen and main screen, each on its own activity. I navigate between them using intents. Also, I navigate between them and another applications like the browser and the email application, also using intents. The former, an explicit intents, where I state explicitly what is the target, and the other, the second one, using implicit intents, meaning I do not state what is the target activity. I merely state my intentions, what I want to do, the action itself. The system addresses my need by resolving to the actual activity that will spawn, okay, that will be launched. Yeah, that's it's the usual. We turn it off and we turn it on. It all is good, right? So, but again, at the top, I have a top bar. I have the top bar here. Okay, UI. I am putting here everything that is common. I am dividing my solution in screens. Okay, and here I place everything that is common. Please. Okay. So this is my top bar. I'm using a top bar, which is not a big deal. My top bar may have on the right side an info button. That button that when I press navigates to the about screen, and to the left it may have a back button. Okay, to navigate back. Several of you have asked me how can we navigate back. Naturally, using the device support, whether it's a button or a swipe, whatever, it depends on the device. But that comes naturally. Okay, if you are using navigation between activities, naturally there is support for navigating back. Okay, but what about if we want to do it programmatically? Okay, how do we do it programmatically? By using a function named finish, which asks the system to terminate the current activity, like so. Okay, on the about activity, I have this here. Okay, by the way, can you guys know? Not really, right? But like this, you can all see it. You guys in the back, can you see it? This? Yeah. Okay. So no big deal about activity on create. This is the theme. This is the about screen, and this is the handling of the navigation events of that screen. So my decision here is that each screen, the composable, handles its stuff. Navigation is handled at the top by the activity. Okay, that was the decision, the design decision here. So why is that? Because navigating implies that I need to use stuff like finish, like start activity here. Okay, and this demands the existence of a context. Okay, instead of passing in to the composable function the context. Oh, by the way, what is a context? Is the root class, the base class for all Android components. If I navigate here, look at this component activity, component activity, activity. I'm still going up. Okay, where is it? Context theme wrapper, context wrapper, and still going up. Okay, context. You saw the depth of the hierarchy? Yeah. Context. And this has start activity somewhere. Let me just show you. Start activity, okay? So if we want to start an activity, we need something that's derived directly or indirectly of context, okay? I would require it inside my composable function. It's not a good idea to pass in the context to the composable function, okay? Because it can lead to retention, okay? To retain stuff that I shouldn't retain. Okay, but we will get onto that later on. For now, we just stick to this idea. I want to navigate, whether back or forward, wherever. I use this approach. I launch the event from the composable function to its host, the activity, and I handle it there. Okay, this is what I have here. The activity is handling navigation. Okay, not the composable function itself. And that's it. The finish call is here, and the other navigation is here. Maybe I let me see. I will later on test it to see what if everything is all right. Okay, and this is it with respect to the about screen. There's one thing I want to highlight, which is the top bar itself. The top bar is maybe configured, not a large configuration, something easy, such as should it include a back button or not? Should it include an info button or not? Okay, I do this configuration by using null as a way to state I don't want to have a back event. Okay, if for instance there's no handler for back intent on the top bar, then the top bar does not issue a back navigation event. Okay, and does not show the button itself. Okay, on the left. That's it. So the top bar is a top up bar. This is a component from material, and I have this here, which I've written it this way so you guys from Erasmus don't feel lost immediately. What I'm doing here is this. I am producing, this is a composable function, meaning that it produces a composable that will be used on the left, okay? On the left side of the top bar. This is the title, which again is a composable function, in this case using a text field. But here I am stating this, on back intent different from null, then I want to have an icon there. Okay, easy enough to understand. But this is not very very fancy or elegant. I prefer this approach. Okay. So don't be shocked with this. It's the same thing mostly, but using let. Let is a function, a scope function, which receives as an argument the left side of the call. If we look onto this, you see here, let is a function. Can you guys see it? Maybe not. Let is a function, a member function, extension function of t, which receives another function that receives what is on the left as its parameter. And therefore, I can write this like so. Oh, by the way, this means if this is null, then there's no call to let. Okay, so this is another way of doing it, mostly the same thing. If different from null, produce this result. Okay, I usually tend to write this way instead of using the if expression. Okay, that's it. And whether this is null or not, it will display the icon or not. I have a couple of tests here, automated tests, to ensure that the top bar is correctly implemented. How do we test a user interface, right? How do we produce automatic tests for a user interface? There are several approaches, depending on what exactly we want to test. If we want to test how it looks, then there's no running away from taking a snapshot of the screen, considering it as the gold standard. This is what I want to have. And then whenever I have an execution of the test, I capture the screen that results from the execution of that test and compare it to the gold standard. If they are the same, the test is good. everything is well. If they are not the same, the test fails. We will not be building those tests here. I will leave you links to it, okay? I will focus mostly on behavioral tests. I am trying to test whether my UI operates as expected, not that it looks as expected, okay? There's a huge difference in it. I'm not trying to say that there's no value on trying to test its looks. Of course, there's value there. For example, when I worked at Sky, there's this agreement that images from movies cannot be skewed, not at least. Okay, it must respect the proportions as in their original version. It is a breach of contract if we would skew them. You understand this? If I, by any means, twisted the image a little bit, it would be breach of contract, and the studio could say you have no longer the permission to run to give my content there. Okay, so it's a big thing. It's important, but we will not be focusing that here. Okay, we will focus on behavioral tests. So what is the behavior of a UI? What does a UI do? It displays information and it collects user intent. Okay, what the user wishes to do. In this case, what is the behavior I have on this top bar? I have a configuration option of displaying or not those icons. Okay, for example, if we look here at the preview, we can see 3 different previews displaying the title, the left notification button, the right icon. Okay, so I have here the several combinations. Also, I have automated tests here. Oops. And the automated test, this is the component, it's stateless, again, simple. But I have a convention, and the convention is whenever I have elements in my UI which have semantics, which have meaning, that are relevant to the user experience, then I tag them using this test tag. Okay? I tag them so I can easily find them in my automated tests. Okay? And my automated tests are these. Let me just run them. These automated tests are named instrumentation tests. Why is that? Because they require an Android runtime. Okay? In this case, merely a composable runtime, but they execute on a device or on an emulator, either real or emulated. Okay? We see some flashing around. That's because we are running the automated tests. And as you could see, I am verifying the behavior of the top bar. Okay? Those tests, they are easy to build. They are placed here, Android tests. Okay? I'm organizing this the same way I'm organizing the source code of the application. As you can see, main screen tests, UI, top bar, UI, top bar tests. Okay. I also have a round button for our stuff today, and which is here, but it does not require any test because it's easy. It's simple enough. It doesn't have any behavior. Okay. So again, my top bar tests. Let's look at them. What do we want to test on a top bar? Okay. Well, I want to see whether, if I only wish to have a back navigation, if it only has a back navigation, right? So this is the compose rule. This is the way to set up the environment to run composable tests. And then I have compose test rule, set content. Its content will be this top bar. And then I only pass in a function to handle the back intent. So my expectations are that I do have a back button, but I do not have an info button, about button, right? So that's what I state here. Compose test rule on node with tag, back button tag, asserted exists. This, I am asserting it does not exist. If these 2 assertions pass, then I'm good, okay? Again, The next test is, what if I only pass in the info navigation handler, like so? Then my expectations are that assert that the back button does not exist and the info button exists. Okay? Finally, what about both of them? I am expecting both of them to exist and also this title to be present. Okay? To be displayed. This is regarding the configuration. What about the event handling? The events being produced by the top bar. Well, here it is. Clicking back button triggers back intent. Okay, cool. I have here set content. I pass in a function which sets this variable here, and then I assert where I perform the click at the button, and then I assert that it has been set to true. You see what we are doing here? Very simple set of tests that are used to verify whether the top-up bar is behaving as we expect. Okay? Not a big deal, easy enough to build, and once they are in place, we can be sure that any small mistake we do on our top-up bar, such as this, results in detection. Okay? I injected a bug, and this is actually identified by our test set. Okay? These are easy enough to build. Remember, whenever you are building automated tests, remember, if the tests are becoming very complicated, then there's something wrong with them. You are not doing it right, okay? You are not addressing the issue correctly. If so, talk to me. I will help you guys to understand how you can simplify them, okay? I am mostly trying to condition your solutions already. I am telling you, okay, your screen receives data and produces events. Do not invent too much. Build it this way because it will simplify the tests. I will show you other tests I have here. For example, but I understand these screens are simple enough, so the tests could not be complicated. But if you guys are building UIs, more sophisticated UIs, and you're having a bad time, a difficult time building your tests, because the tests are getting very complicated, you talk to me, okay? You call me. So again, I will help you to simplify them because tests must be simple, right? Why is that? Because if tests are complicated, then they themselves can have bugs, and then we have the problem of how do we test the tests, right? It's the chicken and egg problem. Okay, so this is about the top bar. I'm using it here, for example, on the main screen, and on my main screen, I have, this is the layout, simple enough, okay? I will publish this on GitHub as usual, don't worry, you can look into it. I'm trying to explain to you guys the rationale, how I have organized it. But here I have the main screen, again, let me hide it. It's this is the main screen, no big deal. For now, it has only one button. The main screen also follows the same principle, okay? Which is, it deals with its own stuff, but it leaves the navigation issues to the activity that it hosts it, okay? So here it is. When I produce the navigation event, I state to where I want to go, okay? Navigate to about or navigate to crowd tally. And here I have a set of tests, simple enough to, let me just show you. And the tests are these: clicking info button triggers navigate to about intent, and clicking crowd tally triggers navigate to crowd tally intent, okay? Simple enough. If I run these tests again, I am doing this way. I pass in the event handler, and the event handler stores what it receives so I can assert on it later on, okay, after performing the click. and that's it. Okay, that's easy enough. Okay, okay. I can run them, but there's no there's no need, I think. Okay, so now I wanted to talk to you about another thing, which is application resources. I reckon I haven't said enough. Some of you guys came to see me and asking of it. Um, First and foremost, what is the purpose of resources? Resources are used whenever I want the execution to differ in some aspects. For example, when something changes on the device. Okay. For example, the locale of the device changes. The orientation of the screen changes. The size of the screen changes. Yes, the size of the screen may change. We have foldables now. Okay. That set of events require something to change in the UI. For example, I want to change the language I'm displaying. I was using English, but now the user wants to see in Portuguese, and I support Portuguese. Okay, so yeah, why not displaying the text in Portuguese? Oh, I have another image which is as a larger resolution, so it looks better on a larger screen. Okay, or a screen with higher density. That set of resources are obviously placed in application resources here. Okay, res. This will be bundled up with our application in the APK. Okay, for example, let's focus on text. Here I want to have buttons, right, with information which is the demo it will be launched. Okay, cool. This will be displayed here. Can you see it? Crowd Tele demo. This is in English. What if I want to support also Portuguese? How will I do it? Right? Okay, it's easy enough. If by default, this is strings XML, by default, it's used the content of this file. Okay? And strings are identified by a key, and using this key, I get the associated value. If I want to have several combinations, several languages, then I have other files. Strings XML for Portuguese, for example. Here they are. Okay? What if I wanted to add other languages, right, to this? For example, yes, I want to add French, Turkish, and just for fun. You are from where? Lithuania, my God, let's do this. Okay. We'll have everything, okay? Just for fun, okay? Okay, first and foremost, I could add it by hand, okay? But I will not do it by hand because there's a better way, like this, Open Editor, okay? In the Open Editor, I can add other languages. For example, add languages. Lithuanian. My God. Lithuanian, let's go. Uh, we will not translate PDM, okay? But course demos. What will do we put here? Course demos. She's figuring it out. In Lithuanian. What do I put here? You see here? This is PDM course demos. I want to have PDM, but the rest is a demo is the demonstration. Oh my God. Okay, I tried. Okay, I gave it my best, but I can do it in French. Okay. My God. So I can take remove keys, literally remove locale. But I will add French, français. This I can do. Comment on sait Corse? Discipline? Cours? Comme ça? Cours? C-O-U-R-S. Ouais, cours. Démonstration? Comme ça? Ou démo? Démo, c'est bon? Ok. Et crowd tally. Comment on dit ça? Crowd tally, it's a way to count people inside a room. Tally is a counting. You don't, so we don't translate it. Okay? We say untranslatable. Okay? We cannot translate this. We will always use English. Well, my goal is simply to show you guys that instead of having to create this by hand, okay? Instead of having to create this by hand, this can be created automatically by using this editor, okay? So it's simple enough. For you guys, I'm expecting, of course, English and Portuguese. English by default, and Portuguese, and of course, also Lithuanian, okay? Or Turkish, it's simple enough. And your own language is Dutch, of course, yeah. Or Dutch, if you prefer. E PTBR. Também faz sentido, exatamente. PTBR também faz sentido. Okay. Yeah. Here, open editor. When I go here, you see here, open editor. Okay? This one. Okay? So there's no point in editing all of this by hand. Just use the editor, and it's simple enough. Okay? Let's use the tools as we can. Okay? So this I had to talk about, and that's it. And that's it. Yeah. We still have time. Now, I want to build a crowd tally application. State management, okay? State management, it's not an easy thing to do, okay? Because first and foremost, we must think of what is state. What kind of state are we talking about? Because this will determine how we handle it, okay? I will start by a simple approach, okay? Let's do this. I have here, I think I've covered it all, right? Automated tests, yeah. Okay. Yeah, of course. The language is changed by the user himself. No. It's the system that changed the language. How is that? For example, it's not about having support in the application to handle that. No, it's about reacting to changes on the target device. For example, the target device, I use English. But if now I would change for Portuguese, then the language of the application should automatically change. Okay? So you don't add buttons to the application to support that. No. You just state which languages are supported, use this string resource here. You see this? This is the way to resolve from the key. Guys, oh! You resolve from this key here to the actual text, okay? By using string resource. Which text comes out of this, it depends on what language is in effect on the device and whether you support it or not. It's this, what the system decides. Okay, so you just elect to, instead of putting hard-coded strings here, you resolve the strings based on the key that identifies it. If you you always have a default, and the default is this here. Okay, this is the default. Usually I use English because we are Western, and in West societies the default is English. Okay, but if we want to support other languages, we had these files, not by hand but using the editor, and we had support to those languages. Okay, this is not simply about the language itself. It's also about, for example, how we format numbers. The format of numbers is different in several locales. Okay, so we also add that. Okay, it's okay? Great. So let's look then to our purpose. Let's build the UI using a counter. Okay, simple as this. I have here, I'm going to add the new package. This. Let's first close it. A new package, crowd tally. Crowd tally. Okay? Here I will add a new activity. New Kotlin class file. I will call it crowd tally activity. This will derive from component activity, and it will have on create. Okay, like so. I will have a set content. Oh, I haven't shown you how we can use the theme, right? I forgot. I will show you in a minute. I think I have here something regarding that. Material, not here. Maybe here. I think it's here, right? Yeah. It's here, okay? So for example, I wanted my text on, I forgot this. You see this? I wanted this text to be larger, a bit larger. So what have I done? Instead of stating it explicitly here by stating I want to have a font size, whatever, I just said I want here to use the typography settings of the title large font, okay, which is specified on the theme. This is done by this material theme typography, which is specified here, type. Okay, I'm using the default. Okay, but I can change it like so. Okay, so instead of setting this in each component, I'm using the theme. So once I change it here, everywhere I'm using this title large, it will also change. Okay, use this instead of stating everywhere the settings. Okay, so this is here too. And finally, this is about the application. How is it the name? Like so. Main screen tests and blah, 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 here. Okay. And now the crowd tally screen. Okay. Crowd tally. The same approach. If I want to navigate, I will produce the event from the event from the screen to the activity. Everything else is handled by the screen. Okay, so I will implement the screen now. Let's do the screen. Create class, create interface, create member function. No, I just want to create new Kotlin class file, a file named crowd telescreen. And crowd telescreen is a function, a composable function. Function crowd telescreen. Okay, this is a composable function. Composable function. I will copy a layout I have right here. Okay, so I don't have to do it everything by hand now, but I will use okay, I will use a column. I will copy it. You know, I also let me copy it. It's faster. Okay. Okay. Like this. Let me clean up. So I have a scaffold imported. I have a top bar. Top bar. I have a title. Nah, I don't need it for now. Top bar receives a string. Okay. Let's cut it out. Top bar doesn't have anything for now. Let's cut this out. Okay. A scaffold, like so, yeah. I'm just trying to get a minimal layout, okay, without much fuss. Okay, Alt import, Alt import. Nice. So it has a pleasant look. Okay, font size. This will only be, let's cut this out. A row. We will look into it in a moment. Fill max width. Round button. Yep. Like so. Like this. Like this. Just cutting out stuff. Okay. Is it done? Yeah, we are done. And now, so it's not a big deal. It's a scaffold with a column, some text, and two buttons, decrement, increment. The text is supposed to display the counter value. Okay, no big deal. Um, and um, and then I will be using, oh, by the way, in the preview, a preview composable with, okay, crowd telescreen preview, crowd telescreen with the theme, which is demos application theme. Okay, this is the build and refresh. Okay, let me start with 0. Okay, you see, can you see it? Well, this is simple. A screen with two buttons minus and plus, which will start with some value. The value is counter, oops, sorry, fat fingers, counter 0, and here I will put 0 counter dot to string. Oh, yeah, okay, like so. Yeah, a counter. Let's start. Like it's a 0. Is it off in some way? Yes, it is. It's not your eyesight. It's the right side is unfocused, isn't it? Yes, it is. But you can see it. Okay, it's a counter. What I want to do is as simple as this. I click on this. Oh, by the way, I added a new activity. Remember, I have to add it here. Let's add it. Activity, Android name, CrowdTel activity, and it's done. Okay? Now I have another activity, and I want to navigate to it. And this is done where, in the main activity, when I receive the event navigate to about, it's not navigate to about, because the on navigate is, I want to have a when here, handle navigation, handle navigation. I do not have tests to do navigation yet. Private, fun, handle navigation. I receive a it here, it. The it is where to navigate to, destination, nav event, navigation event, and the navigation event is of type title screen navigation intent. Title screen navigation intent. And now I do when navigation event to about, navigate to about, navigate to about, navigate to CrowdTel, like this, alt, and can you see, guys? See, this, there's no big deal here, but I'm just handling the event. Whether if it is a, I want to go to about, I navigate to about. If it is a navigate to CrowdTel, I navigate to CrowdTel. Navigating to CrowdTel is creating a function which does exactly that, and that is like this. Intent, the target is not about activity, but CrowdTel activity. Okay, great. And there it is. And now finally, I do have the CrowdTel activity and the CrowdTel screen displaying. Let's run it to see how this goes. Okay. And with no surprise, if we click on the buttons, nothing happens. Okay. CrowdTel demo, nothing happens. Okay. No surprise there. So what should we do? Let's start in an ad hoc fashion. Let me ask to you guys, which already know Compose, how would you do this and why? Do you understand my question? What is my next step? What should I do next? I should use somewhere a mutable state. Why is that? I want to preserve the count, but this, isn't this enough? Counter. Let's change it. I want to have a counter. Great, counter to string. And this should do, instead of using a val, let's use a var. Counter. And if I use this, I should do counter minus equal 1. And here I should do counter plus 1. Okay, right? You see? Easy, right? I have a counter, which is displayed here. I increment it or decrement it. This will have negative values. I'm not interested in that, but we will deal with it later. Now, it's simple, right? Let me just also do this so I can see all the code together with this font size. Okay. Okay, now it's all everything there, right? Right? Yeah, looks good. But it does. Jesus. Tá mesmo, aquilo tá mesmo. I should fiddle with the focus, right? I will kill myself if I try it now. For sure, I will break my every bone in my body. Not for now. You guys can see it, okay? Yeah, yeah. You can, you can see it. Okay. Your colleague already said the answer. He just said we should use multiple states. But my point, my question is why? Why does this not work? You are answering because that's not the reason. I need to understand why I have to have a mutable state or whatever. Why does this not work? Because the value gets lost between recompositions. Let's execute this. Muito simples, mas do caraças. Ok? Por que que não funciona? Sorry. Why does this not work? The state gets lost. The state gets lost. Yeah.
When you just inform that the object that was affected must be infected. So that's the problem. And if you do not remember that mutable state,
There are several stuff, but I like your first part of the answer, your first answer. It's because I need to inform the UI that something changed, so a recomposition happens. Remember that what does compose promise? To produce the UI based on some data. This has rendered once. Now I am changing the value, but compose is not informed that the value has changed. And because compose is not informed that the value has changed, no recomposition happens. So I actually need to perform a recomposition. Look, how can we see this in action? Like this. Let me just hide this. And let's put a log here at the top. For example, when I display the text here, I will use a log.v. By the way, this may not function properly. I will try to explain to you guys later on. I'm trying to figure out whether a recomposition is actually occurring, but I should not overly trust what I see. Okay, this is why is that? Because this is the number of executions of this code is not part of the contract. For example, this can be executed twice or thrice, okay? At the beginning. Why is that? Why not? It depends on the implementation, okay? So there's no promise that this will only execute once per composition, okay? That's my point here. But the promise is, look, you just describe the UI, compose, will handle the production of that UI based on your description. How many times I execute this, it's my problem, not yours, okay? But I will try to figure out something here. So PDM demo, and now the text, okay? Something like this. Let's run it. And let's show the logcat. By the way, whenever you wish to see what is happening, for example, your application crashes, you have here logcat, you see? And now you can look it in a more compact way, like so, not like this, compact view, okay? And now we can filter by tag here, okay? For example, I only want to see the messages with this tag. Okay, no, got it, okay. No messages there. Now I will execute this. And we see here, crowd tally screen with counter 0, right? Once, yeah, we got lucky. It could be thrice or 5 times, or whatever, it doesn't matter. Obviously, the system always tries to execute the minimum amount of times, unless it's executing in parallel. The plus doesn't do anything. No recomposition. We need to force a recomposition. How is that done? By using, for example, mutable state. The first part of your answer. I need a mutable state in your answer. Let's use a mutable state here. Nice. So I will use a mutable state. Instead of using a var, I'm using a var with a mutable state. Mutable state, yeah, of int 0. Okay, is already, the tools are getting more sophisticated by the day. The tool is telling me, look, you are creating a state object during composition without using remember. This is a mistake. Do you know why this is a mistake? It's telling me it's a mistake. But why is it a mistake? Let me see if he lets me to execute this. Oh, by the way, I can use this by mutable state, like so, okay? And this would be a var. You understand the difference here? What is happening? Okay, let's start by val counter equals, and now here dot value dot value. Okay, and now I'm running this again. Let's see if he lets me run. He lets me run. Great. Oh, of course. Counter dot value. Okay, rerun it. Crowd tally. Great. And now 1, 2, 3, 4. It surprises me, okay? I was expecting this to fail. Let me think why. Why is this running properly? It's working properly. Oh, God damn it. Okay, it shouldn't work, okay? Look, he just told me, you must use remember. And then I don't use it, and it works. Why is that? Okay, I'm surprised. And why am I surprised? Because mutable state is about intercepting the 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 the, the write. I write on the variable, mutable state intercepts that write on that variable and triggers a recomposition. Meaning it uses compose infrastructure to look, we need to have a recomposition, which leads to execution again to this code. Okay? The problem is the executing this code again should put it at 0 again. And so we would only see 0 because a remember is missing. Remember is about memorization. Remembering that associated to this composition, there's this. Okay? So I'm actually surprised. I don't know why this is working. Yeah? What do you mean? What's wrong with the counter?
We're saying the counter is counter plus equal to one.
Yeah, huh?
Change that to counter value plus plus.
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah. It's not that. You're saying this, right? Like so. It's the same thing. There's something else here happening. I'm not sure what exactly, but something else is happening here. And the recomposition does not. Maybe it's an idea. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your colleague is saying something interesting. This is stored here. Maybe the recomposition is happening only here. And if so, if the recomposition is only affecting the internal of the interior part of the tree, then this would happen. Yeah, it's a nice take. Yeah, let's see it like this. Whoops. Of course. Yeah. Yep. Precisely. So you nailed it. So you see the problem. There's some dynamic here regarding recompositions. Whenever we change state stored in a mutable state, a recomposition occurs. That recomposition affects only part of the composable tree, not the whole of it. In this case, I am placing the counter. It does not. Yeah, it explains it. Yeah, it explains it because only this part of the tree was being recomposed, and the value had changed, and it was stored in an outer part of the tree. So, are you understanding what is happening here? So, I am changing the value is changing, the recomposition is occurring, but whenever a recomposition occurs, this executes again. And because this executes again, what is happening is it will all again be initiated to zero. Hence, the value remains the same. Regardless, we should always use remember, regardless of putting this here or here. Why is that? Because we are exposed to details of the implementation, which parts are actually recomposed or not. Okay? So bear this in mind. I was surprised because I was expecting this to fail. It didn't fail because this part was not being executed again. The recomposition was not total, it was partial. Okay, great take. Okay? Yeah? Yeah, the worst bugs are those that only happen once. But this was a bug happening waiting to happen because we know we are not following the programming model of Compose. To obey the programming model, we also must use remember. And remember is about memoization, which remember is a function that only executes if this was not already executed. Okay? Associated to this composition will be an entry where the value is only initiated once, regardless of how many recompositions happen later. Okay? This code will only be executed once in initiation moment. Okay? Like so, we are using this. Let me just prefer mutable int state of. Okay, I will with mutable int state of. Great. And now, no value needed. I will use uby, which is the delegation. Get value, import. Okay. And like this, I can use this minus equal 1. I prefer and var here. It's more natural, but okay. Okay? Let's run it again. By the way, if you guys already know, I have to import the mutable, the set value. Okay. If you guys know React, React is similar to this. We use useState. This is similar to useState, and useState returns two to a pair. The first is the value itself. The second is the function used to set that value. It's the same thing here, except that all is together here in the counter. Okay, it's intercepted automatically due to the library implementation itself. Okay, let me just like this, like this, like this. What time is it? Okay, 10 minutes, and it's working. Well, it all seems well, right? But there's a saying that Android is easy enough until we rotate the screen. Okay, Android's very easy until we rotate the screen. It's easy, right? Until we rotate the screen. Okay, and everything goes awry. Okay. What is happening here? My God. All was well, and now the problem here is that the activity is destroyed, discarded. Everything is thrown away, and all the composition, everything, and everything starts anew. And because of that, everything was thrown away. All starts anew, and the counter is zero again. Okay. Some of us, being pragmatic, would answer like this. Oh, of course, remember savable. No problem. And now it works. But we are engineers, right? We are not satisfied by these easy fixes. Why are we using remember savable? Is it the proper way to do it? That will be our subject during the next weeks. Okay? But for now, I want to focus on one thing. So, I've just shown you this so you guys don't think that that it's a difficult issue. In some cases, it's as simple as this. Okay? But is it the only solution? Is it this always the solution? Is it actually the solution in our case here or not? Well, it depends. The famous expression, it depends, right? So I will remove the remember savable, and I will ask you this. I want to test it. Oh, by the way, Ace, that's it, Narcus. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it, that's it. Okay, so uh, we will finish. Okay, so first and foremost, there are some components which must have state. State, remember, the UI is a function of state or data. If the state changes, then we need to have a recomposition. To do so, we use this combination, remember and mutable state of. The question is, should we use the state here or should we receive it? How do we test this? Okay? For example, imagine this. I want to store this information persistently, meaning if the application shuts down, I want to make sure that I've registered this count. More, I want to send it to a web API remotely to have statistics regarding the attendance of my show, for example. Something more complicated than this easy stuff. This is too easy. right? I want to do something with this information. Should I go about it like this? More. How do I test this? Okay, so there's a recommendation in Android which is named state hoisting. Hoisting is içar, elevar, to lift up. Okay, I use two verbs in Portuguese to convey better the message. So hoisting is about lifting up. Okay, so it's there's a recommendation. Let's hoist state, put it up in the hierarchy. But which kind of state should we hoist, and which type of state should we leave it there in the tree where it is needed? Okay, and usually, generally, the rule of thumb is if this state is not presentation state, then it should be hoisted, lifted up. Lift it up to where? As further up as possible. So it's common to have this. Instead of receiving this, of having this here, should have a view. Let's use a view. And I will stop there, okay? Like so. Instead of having the crowd tally only having a screen, I also want to have it a view. Like so. Kotlin class file, crowd tally view. Crowd tally view should receive, not a class. It's a function. It's too small, I know. It's a composable function. And this composable function receives the information, which is the counter, which is an int. Okay? And it produces 2. You've seen it? Okay, not the crowd. Like this. So I receive the data and I produce 2 events, increment and decrement. And now the implementation of this composable is easy enough. It's this. And now I can very easily test it, right? Okay, I will take this out, and now, whatever inner padding, I must receive the modifier inner padding, modifier equals modifier. I use this modifier here. Okay, like so. You see where I'm getting at? I'm getting at building a view which has no state whatsoever. Again, a stateless view. Sorry, guys. Which has no state. It receives data, it displays data, and produces events. This is simple to test. I've just shown you, right? Nice. We can test it easily. Okay, and I will do it. But what about state? Well, state will be wherever it must be, depending on its nature, its purpose. Okay, we will start by having this state here on the screen, but we will lift it up further. We'll take it out of the composable function and put it in a view model, okay, which you guys already are used to because you have had TDS, which was designed to prepare the way for this. But in TDS, it was an optional component because it was about design. Here in Android, it's about correctness. If you do not use a view model, it will be wrong. Okay? It will be flawed, your application. And I will explain you guys why is that. Okay? Don't worry. But the point is, we are hoisting state. If this state is not presentation state, we will be hoisting it, lifting it up. And why I'm saying this is not presentation state? Because, for example, Imagine I want to store this in a database. Of course, it's not presentation state. I want to store information of the attendance. How many people were attending? This is not presentation state, for sure. But what is presentation state? And I will end it there, and we will pick it up in the next lecture in Monday, okay? You guys can already start by building stuff like this, putting, at least for now, your state in the screen and have the views receive state and produce events, okay? But finally, here, I want to say this. Should this be an integer, an int, or not? Okay? Should it? Well, let's imagine it is an integer here. Should it be an integer? If I want my counter, there's no negative attendance, right? There are -5 people in the room. It doesn't make any sense, right? Unless they are sportinguistas or portistas. They don't count. These are clubs, okay? Portuguese clubs. I'm poking them a bit, okay? Otherwise, but you see my point here. I would like the minus button to be disabled whenever the count is 0. More, there's a maximum capacity on our room. I want the plus sign button to be disabled when the capacity is reached. This is domain, right? This is domain logic. A simple counter can become a domain element, right? And we will do it. In that case, I would like my UI to have presentation state. And what is the presentation state? Well, the minus button is disabled if the count is 0. And the plus button is disabled if the capacity has been reached, right? Simple as this, okay? This is where we are going next. I will talk to you about, I don't want to implement that logic here to check if the capacity has been reached or not, to only increment if. I don't want to put that logic here because that logic is domain logic. A simple one, of course, it could be put here, of course it could. But in larger domains such as your own, the poker dice application, it would not be reasonable to have it all here, right? So we will split it up, okay? Using a small example, of course, to illustrate. Okay, guys? Sorry, it's on time. Sorry, guys. Okay. See you next Friday or Thursday. Bye-bye. Como é que é, pessoal? Vá, fiquem bem. Abraço. Tenho que ir a correr já para a próxima. I will publish the code, okay? Later on, I will publish.